There's a lot of uncertainty about the role of rat tests for schools at this point. We know that they are a useful way of monitoring whether or not these infections are occurring, perhaps against staff, but also potentially for school students. We have the advantage of understanding how they're rolling out in Victoria and New South Wales. We know that South Australia is taking a slightly different approach to using the rat tests. And what I think is going to be important as we watch this space, right now I don't think people should routinely be using the rat tests in Western Australia because we haven't got a lot of cases here, but that may change week to week. And the great thing is that here in Telethon Kids Institute, we're involved in some of the research to try and evaluate best how we could use rat tests for schools and for kids. Our fingers are crossed that we're starting to see the peak in Omicron strains over east and that we're starting to see those cases reducing. We know that there have been reduced hospitalisations. Deaths haven't really started to reduce yet. We would hope that would occur over the next few weeks. And so it does look like in a place where you've seen a lot of the virus circulating that we do see a peak and we see it reduce. Obviously in Western Australia, we haven't even seen anywhere near the peak. We're going to see that coming up in future. What we don't know is what that means in the long term, and we also don't know if new strains are going to emerge. So it's right now, it's fingers crossed, let's wait and see what happens. We certainly can't afford to take our foot off the accelerator with all the things we need to do to prevent this infection, all that social distancing, mask wearing, hand hygiene, and of course the booster vaccines are still just as important now as they have ever been. It's fantastic news that we now have approval for the Pfizer vaccine for 16 and 17-year-olds for that third dose, that booster dose, because that booster is so critical in protecting against Omicron. The 16 and 17-year-olds really respond just as well as older adults and older adolescents do, so it's a safe vaccine, it's very effective. And to be honest, the 16 and 17-year-olds are facing a really critical time in their schooling, so we want them to be as protected as possible so that those really critical senior years of high school are as disrupted as little as possible.